Yes, people. So welcome to The Point with me, David. And as you can see, I've got a very, very, very special guest with me today. Now, he's going to introduce and give you more about himself. But let me just introduce you from my perspective. So you may not know who he is. So this brother, who I've known from since 1901, the one and only Adrian, aka Stelios, aka Sven, aka Freda Donkey, aka Burger King colleague, aka Power League manager, aka Where the Rims Them There, aka the first man in the group to have a car, aka the Eggy Meister, aka Don't Slam the Door, aka I could carry on and go on.
Slamming the door still happening with the family. So, all right.
And then the last one, aka Fireman. So I'm really pleased that this podcast, this episode is my first guest. We go back a long way, and I just really want to take the time just to allow him to share his story, his journey from where he's come from to where he is now. And also, as you know how we do, just to align that and how important faith has been throughout your journey growing up. And what I didn't say, aka coming from Manchester, Jamaica, and not the one over here. So just tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us your background, who you are, coming over here as a young person from the Caribbean to England, and just give us a bit of an insight so the people know.
Yeah, man. Hi all. Yeah, where did it start? Obviously, born in. I'm not going to give anyone my age or anything like that, but yeah, born in Jamaica. Spent first 10 years of my life over there. Obviously living the dream. Now looking back with the sunshine, you know, not the British weather as such.
Yeah.
And you know, going through school, enjoying life, being around. Much more family member over there than obviously over here.
Okay.
And yeah, growing up in Jamaica, man, I've done, even though I'm in my late 30s now, I've done majority of my growing up as such in Jamaica. And the reason why I put it like that is, you know, certain things that you may take for granted when later on in life you look back and think to yourself, actually I've learned so much within those first 10 years of my life, and it's kind of like set me up for the rest of my life. Okay. So in that respect, I say, yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff up until that age. But yeah, growing up in Jamaica as a whole, it's been very, very good. Obviously, the choice of going to this country, it was out of my hands, being a minor, but to be honest, I was looking forward to it back then. So yeah, I've come to England age of 10, and then continue my education journey.
So one of the things we joke about, what we used to say is, and we probably still say, how you speak better English than Englishman. So when you came over, how did you find coming into school? Also just the culture, the difference in what you was used to back in Jamaica and to how school was here and the culture as well.
Very different. Starting off, obviously, where I come from, Manchester in Jamaica, and within Manchester there's two parts, my mum and my dad's side. One was Mandeville and the other side was Christiana, and that's essentially the centre of the island. So, you know, when people over here will talk about Jamaica, first thing that'll come to your mind is sun, sea and sand. Yeah. For me, you had to drive at least an hour to get to the nearest beach. Yeah. Okay. So it's not something I could just easily have to drop of a hat, go there. And within my local area or community, shall I say, there was just black people. Yeah, you will find the odd Chinese. White people might be few and far. So all I knew was that culture there. And obviously coming to England now, it was like roles reverse. So the language was obviously there was going to be one thing. Obviously we're speaking patois, broken English as such, but still I still had the twang. And even
so how long did it take you to start speaking differently, to not talking patois and to
what I still got it now. I think when I get upset, if I get upset, it just naturally comes out. Doesn't, you know, sometimes especially like now in these certain settings, professionally, it comes out at times, and sometimes you gotta like, check yourself to a certain way of thinking, you know. But I found it much smoother than my brother, because me and my brother, probably 3 years older than me. He adapted a bit later than I have, and the main reason behind that, because my brother had cousins. We had cousins of that was mainly my brother's age, so they were more or less having the same class and all that. So he basically had congregated around majority of people those from either Jamaica, you know. But for me, I was on my own, because I started off second half of year 6. That was in a school that I was more or less by myself. So majority of my time I spent like, you know, rolling with the Asian kids one day, and next minute I'll be rolling with the white kids, and next minute I'll be rolling with the black kids. So that kind of like molded me into actually learning the language. And one thing I never forget, mums, they used to me say, you know what, quicker you learn the language, the easier it will be for you. So I got into a lot of things that that would actually, you know, empower me, or you know, to learn. So at one point I was, I don't think I'm mentioned this here, but at one point I was actually learning like Hindi language, certain phrases.
For real,
you know, because it's just you're new to it. So it's like, and I think that's part of my journey through life, where I'm always challenging myself. You know what I mean? And I'm one for wanting to learn about other cultures and big on that. So settling in language wise, it was smoother for me than my brother, I'd say. The other thing that I couldn't take though is like food. You know, it was different, bro. It's like
chicken mayonnaise sandwiches.
I don't even know what that is. I was like, what's this, what's that? And stuff like fish and chips. What? That's not, you know, our fish, that's not a fish. Or fish that I know has got bones in, and I was thinking, these fish ain't got bone. What's this? And like the flour, the fruits, loads of things are different. Just like, and another important point as well is the terminologies of things as well. That I wouldn't say I struggled to a certain extent, but it took me a while to get my head around it, you know, so things like that. And obviously being a child of that age, it's a lot that was clouded into one, where you've not just learned about the culture as a whole, obviously the climate and everything else, and then you're having to go to school as well and study. So
what about, because when it comes to like faith and church, because one of the things we know in Jamaica, I'm sure it's like Jamaica's perhaps the most churched out country in the world. Like I think per square mile you'll find a church, more churches more than anywhere else. So what was it like for you? Was you a church man? Did you have to go to church? Did you grow up knowing about the Bible and all that?
Listen, my back in Jamaica now, hear me say is probably a bit disappointed, but I should know the Bible. I should know the Bible better than I do now. I'm going to be real. You know what I mean? Back in Jamaica, when I mean at the age of say 6, 7, I moved and lived with my nan, and there, because she's a Seventh-day Adventist, in Jamaica, there'll probably be probably 3-4 churches within a mile radius of each other. And most of those churches probably be like, for example, Sunday church, Seventh-day Adventist, which is what my nan was before she died. So Seventh-day Adventist, obviously we religiously, when I mean the Sabbath.
How the Sabbath.
Listen, I used to love and hate. I used to hate the Sabbath back then, being a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I miss it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean saying that, it's like coming to England, it's just fast going.
Yeah.
In Jamaica, it's like back then, I would, for the Sabbath itself, you know, would make sure that everything's in place before 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
When I mean everything, so that when 6 o'clock in the evening comes, you don't have to go out and get food or whatever. So me being a young child, under the age of 10, I was having to go out, get the water, get this. We had no running water. Yeah, we never had no gas or things like that. So it's quite rural, you know.
And this is so this is still the 90s. This ain't like when people think like the 50s or the 60s. You know, when people they speak to the older heads from the Caribbean. So this is in the 90s that you're having to.
But the thing is, I never knew any difference.
Yeah.
So I was happy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say all these things. You know, I was in poverty and like that. I had food, I had water, I had what I needed.
Yeah.
You know, so but at the same time, that was my norm. You know, so by doing these things throughout the week, and obviously doing the Sabbath and the Sunday, we'll go and do our thing, and then Sabbath, no naked film, nothing. We're just in the house and weren't allowed to. There's a few boundaries. And no work, nothing. And I think now I would appreciate that this point in my life. Reason being, that's one day you could say you sit down in the house and you're doing nothing and you're just reflecting on life, whatever it may be. But back then I just wanted to go out and play. You know what I mean? My cousins who some of my family, other family members or neighbours, they would go Sunday church, so you'd be seeing them doing all the playing and eating that, and then you know, so it's roles reverse.
Okay, so that had a big impact on you growing up, and how church and holding the Sabbath shaped you, but you probably didn't realise then as much as you reflecting now. So then you're over here.
Sorry, let me just put in there one sec. So when you say about the Sabbath itself, that's what we used to do. We used to read the Bible. Okay. On Saturday, we used to religiously read the Bible, and we used to have our own little congregation, so to speak. Okay. So that's how I used to know the Bible, and it humbles you. You know what I mean? When Christ get involved, what Christ did for us, you learn, and then sometimes going through that whole 12-hour period, you're thinking, oh, I'm hungry. But understanding what Christ done for us, that is what we're now more or less following suit as such.
Okay, so you had to fast as well for that. Some of those,
it's all through the day, bro. It's
involuntary fast.
Trust me. And this is like just water, and obviously with Seventh Day as well. Not allowed to eat pork. So that wasn't a thing, and up until this day, I haven't. Apart from, as I said, part of the transmission into the coming over this country, I got
sucked in a little bit.
And I say so, no, unknowingly, like pork scratching, yo. thought that was crispy, yo. And that's another food that I tasted. I was like, yo, this is all right. And then my mum was like, what you doing?
The salt,
I was like, what you doing? And my mum was like, what do you mean? I was like, that's pork. I was like, yeah, because it was like poured into a bowl, so I didn't see the package.
You didn't see what it was.
And I was like, rare. And if you have that sense of guilt, but God will forgive you. So you're over here. You navigate school. Obviously, one of the schools you go to is what we call Home of the Brave, GD. You navigate through that. I suppose you transition from school to then. Obviously, people who won't know, we went to school together, we worked together, we did a whole heap together. So I've seen the journey, boys,
and then you embark on fast forwarding here. So you embark on the journey where you start looking into getting into the fire service. Why the fire service, and what was that journey like for you?
It's something that I thought about when I was actually in school, like the late years in school, when just by luck or chance, there was this and there was never even came to our classroom. I don't even remember GD where they got the hall where Mr.
They came into school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think it was during class time, of course, when I was walking across the hall. You know, when you get into the main entrance, take a right, and then the hall's there, innit?
Martin.
Yeah. Main entrance, and then far, say if you're going over to the other block, but still in the hall, far right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was in that classroom there. Okay. And I just got a glimpse of them. I was like, whoa, okay, fire service, what are they doing here? And for some reason, that stuck with me.
Okay.
You know, but I didn't have the confidence to actually push through and say, you know what, this is my thing. But being at that age, you kind of like, you're trying to figure out what, you know, what's best for you. Okay. So a few years down the line when I was 22, 23, and that's when I started embarking on it, and it was someone else in the fire service that joined, and I asked him what's it like, and he was telling me, it was like brilliant. So I thought, go for it, and it took me 2 attempts to get in.
Okay.
And as I went in, that day within itself was another cultural difference. And me saying that, I mean, in the sense of me being an inner city black guy, you know, growing up in Handsworth, going into it, because it is more like, I wouldn't say the army, but it's more, it's you know, standards and everything. You've got to, you know, someone tells you bang, you've got to do it on it straight away. And that kind of was like shock to me, you know, with something I didn't understand the banter in many ways. Okay. So that's what I mean by the cultural differences.
So I remember, and you may remember, I remember they had a strong push in Birmingham and in Handsworth, wanting to recruit black and other ethnic minorities. People probably don't like that terminology, but they're just wanting to incorporate a lot. And I remember one of the recruiters saying it's predominantly made up of white males to that, not even females, but predominantly white males. And they're saying how the job itself, it's once you get in, it can be an amazing career, an amazing opportunity. But you said it took you 2 times to get in. So how did you, that first time, how did you feel? And then what made you pursue and persevere? Because one of the things I think when it comes to, and I'm not trying to brandish all young people the same, but sometimes when they get that first knockback, they think, well, forget it. This is not for me. You're 22, 23. You've come from where you come from. You've gone through life, and then you get this knockback. What made you continue to carry on?
Quite simple. I don't like no for an answer.
Yeah, you're stubborn still.
Yeah. And I like to, with everything I do, unless I know deep down that I've given 100%, I'm never going to feel as if, you know, that's it, never close the door. So when I never went through first time, I reflect, you know, banging on the door, so to speak, say, okay, then I didn't get through. Yeah. Why? Can I have some feedback? Give me some feedback. Okay. Fortunately, I managed to get some form of feedback when I was ringing off the phones, because I wanted to go again. And I said to my relative at the time, my wife, girlfriend then now, she's my wife. I said, I'm going to go again, and I'm going to improve in this area. So my way of doing that is, you know, taking the time out, going to the fire station, asking people that works there, you know, I'm such and such, I'm looking to get in, what can I do? This is where I don't like to use the word fail, or this is where the shortfalls is, have you got any advice? And you do that. And what my surprise was, by going around all these different fire stations, and doesn't matter who opens the door, you tell them that I want it. Yeah. That's it. Okay. You know what I mean? You're just showing them that, you know, you want it and you want to learn more. They'll always help you. Okay. You know, and that is something that I've always kept with me whenever I come to conversation with anyone from different background, race, whatever. I say to them, listen, if you want it, you've got to show that you want it, and not obviously giving up is not an option.
So so once you said and you got in, what has been some of the biggest challenges for you? So you mentioned about the cultural difference, not quite getting the banter. But what were some of the other biggest challenges, and then what did you do to overcome them?
Challenges, apart from what the job entailed itself, I had a lot of that, and as I said, there's a lot of studying that you've got to do.
Okay.
Make no mistakes about that. There's a lot of studying, personal studies, and up until this day, you still have to keep on top of things. So that was a challenge in itself. Academically in school, it wasn't the best for me, and obviously coming here now, being older, and have to learn, I have to more or less reset my way of learning. You know, so that was a challenge with itself. But overall, it's something, I'm not going to lie to you, you know, it's an organisation that you may find something that you dislike or find as a challenge. It's the same you find in any other organisation as well. You know, it is what it is. But my thing is, yet again, as I say to you, it's how do you overcome these things? You know what I mean? Me as an individual, I can only speak for myself, is that I'm me, I'm Spence, I'm Adrian. You know, I always approach things authentically as I can and just be myself, because even though yes, I have been through a lot of challenges within the organisation, but I've always been truthful to myself. You know, being truthful to myself in the sense of, okay, then am I able to do that? You know, and going on side step a bit, there is support out there. The mistakes that I made back then, I'd say, is not tapping into the support that was actually there within the organisation. You know, and this was part of my learning as well, because as you know, speaking for myself again, you can have too much pride. You know, and you can have that thing where you say, sure, and jump off the road, but that's my difference with dealing with it.
So then, were any of those times of Sabbath, and when you had to read the Bible, did any of those scriptures come in handy during those times? Where anything anything that you can remember, you was like, you know what, that even though I wanted to be outside running and ramping up and down, that held me during those difficult times as I was progressing on in the fire service.
Scriptures, saying scriptures.
Okay. Or any teaching or anything that came from that.
Yeah, because I'm a big believer, you know, always have hope and faith, you know, because if you are, obviously there's many other angles you could take from, but that's my angle. When things goes wrong, for example, in Job, Jeremiah, they speak about around the strip. So it's like, you know, whenever things seems to be falling apart and life seems hopeless, consider people like Job, Jeremiah, they wanted to give up, but having that Christ, you know, within them, having that perseverance to push through things, they got through it, you know, and now, hundreds of years later, we're talking about these people. So I'm not by all means putting myself in their category. I'm just trying to say, you know, if I was to compare, you know, don't call me Spence, call me Joe. But and it's things like that. And as I said, you know, we are human. We are prone to make mistakes. But how do we deal with it? How do we move on? You know what I mean? Or not even say just move on. How do we make things better? You know.
Yeah, that's massive. I think one of the things I didn't say. So you've worked yourself up as well in the fire service. So, and then what's interesting, you talked about, which I didn't know. I'm going to hold you to this as well. When you said you learned Hindu, you was learning Hindu, but that, and on top of that, so you learn sign language as well. So you've learned that. So then, what is your future aspirations, and what would be some of the for people who are watching who may have, it doesn't, not necessarily just young people, just people who want to aspire maybe to join the fire service, or they might know a family member or someone that wants to get in, and I know you won't mind me saying, you can reach out to Spence, get in touch, hit the link, drop a comment, and we can get him to you if you need any kind of. But what are your future aspirations? I'm giving you a few questions. Future aspirations, and what could you offer for those who who may be looking to get into the fire service or might know someone that's interested in getting involved?
Well, my future aspiration, number one, is obviously keeping. How shall I put it? As I said, I don't know the Bible as well as I should, but I live life as the best that I can.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got 2 young daughters, bring them up to the best that I can, with me and my wife. Yeah. And, you know, obviously looking after your loved ones, family and friends. Yeah. And that's, I know it sounds a bit, you know, cliche, but that's all. That's my main aspiration. Long as they're all right, I'm all right. I'm not saying that, you know, I know you've touched on it, me being in the ranks within the fire service, but that within itself, it doesn't change me as a person. I'm still me. Yes, I'm doing I believe, you know, I'm doing a lot of good for the community that we serve. But ultimately, you know, it's me. It's still me, Spence. You know, yes, I can handle a corporate or board meeting or whatever that. You know, I can put the Queen's language on and all that, you know, and I can still go back into my yardie vibes and all that as well. But what I'm trying to say, which goes off in the next question, is I'm being myself throughout. You know what I mean? And if any of my colleagues were to be watching this now, this is just me, and they'll tell you. You know, if anyone, as what David said, put it in the comments and I'll contact you and say, well, I'll go on. But yeah, anyone who's aspiring to join the organisation, I'd encourage it. You know, come with a positive, open mind. You know, it is an organisation that welcomes all. There are things put in place to support any and anybody. You know what I mean? It's a future. It's a job that can provide a future. You know, there's so many different angles within the organisation that you can get involved with. It's not just about going to fires, cutting people out of cars. There's so many departments that's there, because even though I've been a firefighter, or shall I say, be an operational personnel for the past. Operational means going out on the trucks and you're going to the fires and all that, but over the past 2 years I've been in a different department, which is mainly office based, but that's dealing with like the road safety side of the organisation. But yeah, again, I can go back out to the operational scene if I wish to do so. So there's still different things.
So there's different avenues.
And and as I say, go on the website. There's just so many things on there. And I'm always here to encourage anyone to join the fire service, because I'm not saying that it's going to suit everyone. If you don't make the cut, then unfortunately you've got to go back and, you know, put some hard work in to come back. But it's a service, I think, in a way that can flourish in.
Just to wrap up, so also on top of that, I know you got a business as well. So you can do a quick shameless plug, because I know then that also helps the community as well.
So I've got a business, the name is New Horizons Clearances, and for that it's basically mainly a property clearance, and I've got into that more so by chance as well, seeing that within, doesn't matter what community you live in, you could live in the suburb, you could live in deprived areas. There's a need for properties, or shall I say the mental health assigned for hoarders, for an example. So that's what we specialise in. And that within itself, especially within our community, I've done some work for a lot of people in our community, and what I'm trying to get at here is us as a culture as such, and not say just our cultures, other cultures as well. We have that sense of, especially if you've not had something, and this is just an example here. If you've not had something, and you say, for example, you come to this country, you feel that you've got to hold on to it, and before you know it, because it's a mental health, mental disorder, so you feel the need to actually hold on to it. Before you know it, these things that you're collecting, getting on top of
you, gotta hold it.
And there's so many different sides. I'm not saying that that's the only aspect of it, but I'm just saying by experience. And I think us as a culture, we don't talk about that enough, or shall I say, I don't come across it enough. So if my work that I'm doing regarding that can help others, then I'm all for that, and that's what the support that we give.
Bless you, man. Thank you. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a few things. And so, as I said, if there's anything you need to know regarding fire service or regarding the business that he set up around hoarding and the mental health around that, please do get in touch. Suspense, bless you, appreciate it. And if you ever get a lift off him, even though obviously safeguarding all that, don't slam his door. Don't slam his door still. He won't have it. But bless you, man. Thank you. So guys, till next time, next week, thank you for watching and take care.
Thank you for listening to this content. If you liked it, please don't forget to like, subscribe and make a comment down below. Or even more so, check out our website www.affinityextra.com for more information.